Hello and welcome to this recording then of the Media Studies A-Level coursework preparation lessons. Today we're going to focus on the theatrical poster. On the brief it will dictate exactly what they request from the theatrical poster for your film project. It will have a series of bullet points that you need to take on board that, as normal, are more or less a checklist of all the things the exam board would expect to see. If one of these things is missing, you can expect that to have an impact on the grade. So please do make a list of the different things that you'd expect to see in a theatrical release poster based on the bullet points you're given in your particular brief. You can see in this case you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that you should look for that require all these elements to be present on the poster itself. Bear in mind the theatrical release poster means then its main release, its main promotional tool, main promotional poster for the film or TV series itself. So this might be where your best picture goes, your most effective picture, and it's also like to focus not just on a character, but the setting and a strong emphasis on the genre as well. So let's go down this list then. So you need an original title, a tagline, so a short sentence or so that's memorable to advertise your film or TV series, at least one main image, okay, original and different from the images of the DVD or Blu-ray cover and poster release from a different country. Okay, an element of narrative, for example, disruption, enigma, or character types. And if you remember from previous lessons, that means then you'll have an example of what is disrupting the lives of the characters. It might be just an enigma or mystery of some kind, or indeed different characters might be suggested on the poster that suggest their role within the narrative or storyline. It needs a release date, the production company logos, the film's website, and social media logos. Now, how obvious some of those are is up to you, depends on very much what you want the audience to take away as they look at your theatrical release poster. It might be the company logos are almost faded, so you'd be hard pushed to actually see them. You'll notice on many of the examples today, it's actually quite hard to spot where the company logos are. But they should be there somewhere if the exam board was scrutinising the poster carefully. You need quotes from critics or reviews, and think carefully where those quotes might come from. Would you then take those from well-known newspapers? Would you go for film magazines such as Empire? Or would you want quotes from respected film reviewers? Equally, it then needs a billing block. That is a small section, a very small type, telling the details of all the different actors in the film, the director, the producer, maybe the sound engineer. So a series of names there that had something to do with the production of your particular TV series or film. Let's have a look at then some examples. Here then is the theatrical release poster for the film Black Panther. You can find that on the left hand side, and just as a comparison on the right I've included the teaser poster for Black Panther. Now the teaser poster is what comes out right at the beginning when the film first begins to be introduced to audiences. These are the smaller posters you might find on bus stops or outside the theatre itself. And normally the teaser poster is much more basic than the theatrical release one is. It normally is deliberately suggesting either a character or a theme rather than multiple characters or multiple themes, and just enough to introduce the title of the film to the audiences and just to entice their interest slightly. So on the right hand side here you can see the teaser poster simply has the name of the film in a very basic font there. You can see the Marvel logo just about at the bottom, and you can see the main character design for the character Black Panther. You can see there that he's likely to be a mysterious figure. You can see his sharp claws there suggesting he's quite violent or quite powerful, as well as the hero physique that you'd expect. Now on the left hand side is the theatrical poster equivalent. You can see a lot more detail, a lot more characters there, a lot more thoughts gone into the design and how it looks on the page. Suddenly we have that classic Black Panther font with the blue writing, the gold outline. You can see the release date is now on there. And interestingly, you can see how the release date changed. If you look at the two posters, you can see the list of actors who are in the film along the top, all sort of 8 of them in this case. But it also suggests some of the themes there. So much more of the African symbolism that appears in the film is very, very obvious in this theatrical poster. So a lot more design, a lot more design elements, a lot more symbolism, a lot more codes appear in a theatrical release poster. Let's move on then to my second example. This is from the film It, Chapter 2. And as you can see, once more, the teaser poster is on the left to show you the basic example of a teaser, and then the theatrical poster on the right-hand side in this case. You can see, once again, the teaser poster is very, very basic. So your theatrical poster should not look like the one on the left. It must be a lot more ornate than that, a lot more detailed than that, a lot more suggesting than that, a lot more enigmatic or laden with codes than the one on the left. The one on the right then introduces the character there. You've still got the It logo at the top there in its classic font, the list of characters across the top of the page there, and once again it looks like you've got 8 actors who are listed at the top, and then you've got this character which you can clearly see is of the horror genre with the tagline "It's back" at the bottom and its release date September 6th. You can see there's a lot more enigmatic codes going on here. You could suggest the symbolism in there of the balloon, the dark red colour, and equally that eerie, almost 80s style backlighting of the character Pennywise himself. Not to mention the outfit of the character and the way he seems to be beckoning to us, the audience, inviting us into the film. Okay, you can see there an example to a horror genre poster. Let's break it down then. You can see the bullet points for what needs to be there at the top, and let's label where those appear on the It poster that you've just seen. First off then, you have its original title, normally positioned in the centre near the top of the page, or indeed, as with the Black Panther example, in large bold font centralised at the bottom of the poster. You've got its original tagline, "It's back." Okay, that appears in this case at the bottom, but normally that's the second most important thing on the poster, so you'd expect it to be a smaller font and positioned yet again centralised somewhere near probably the title in most cases, but in this case title at the top and the tagline directly under it as your eye scans down the page. You've got the one main image used here, in this case Pennywise with his balloon. You've got the element of character suggesting enigma. Now you can see his face through the balloon there, deliberately looking scary or haunting. Not to mention obviously the clown outfit itself, which implies somebody mischievous, somebody childlike perhaps. And then we have the release date, company logos, etc. along the bottom of the page. You'd hardly notice these, but obviously in the exam board's eyes, they're going to be scanning and critiquing your poster in quite a bit of detail. So it's important those release date and company logos do appear somewhere on that page, even if they're in a more muted form than their raw sort of colours might be if you found the Dolby surround sound website, for example. Let's look at some other examples then. These are 2 posters for the film Tenet. You can see there, one is the UK release, which is the one I believe on the left, and you can see the European release poster on the right. You can see both use the same character, but show to present them in very different ways, emphasising then that split personality or the split time frame of the film itself. It indicates something about setting in the background. You can see a busy cityscape, but you can also see the references there to explosions and violence that appears in the film. So 2 different ways of using theatrical posters to connect with different audiences. Have a look there. Where can you find the title in both cases? Where can you find the billing block, the release date, the company logos? And indeed, in this case, there is no tagline to this film, but we know that does need to be in yours. Arguably, you could look at the word "time runs out," I suppose, on the one on the right hand side as being a potential tagline for the film. Once again, let's look at our last example. This is from the film Amelie. You can see the French poster on the left hand side, the French theatrical poster, and then on the other side you can see the UK equivalent. You can see there the two different styles, still the same shot of Amelie, the main character, but one chooses to emphasise the setting a lot more and some of the vibrance perhaps of the film, rather than the sort of strange, eerie sort of green background on the left hand side. Look for the key features then. You've got the title, actors, billing block, you've got the production company, and in this case obviously the font and colours have been paid attention to suit a particular target market or particular target country. Looking at some other genres then, this is Confessions of the Teenage Drama Queen. So teen drama would be where this poster comes in. And again, spot where the different features have been used. In this case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different pictures of the main character, emphasising different parts of her personality in each one. This one almost brings to mind sort of some of the early Andy Warhol works, as it deliberately sort of suggests something about our society or something about the context in which the characters live. Now, if you think about how you could recreate that poster at home, I think this is quite an easy one, but you would need to think through each image you want to use in the background that would be suitable for each one. A very effective, quite memorable poster then, but one you could easily recreate at home. You can see the Walt Disney logo at the top, and equally the different fonts being used for different words at the title to suggest the main structure of the film. The idea that each teenager has a different part of themselves they want to show at different times. And lastly, the sci-fi genre represented from the film Flash Gordon. You can see this one replicates the comic book nature of the film itself. The main characters and codes suggesting what kind of characters those are. I mean, there's no mistaking Ming there, the lead protagonist at the top there, and his evil intentions. The font there being used to emphasise 50s comics. You've got the release date at the top, the billing block at the bottom with company logos, a list of character pictures or character thumbnails at the bottom there, some bright, vibrant graphics, as I said, almost hand-drawn in this case. And you've got the tagline, Pathetic Earthlings, who can save you now, across the top, one of the first things you actually see. Now in this case, the evil character is the one that takes precedence, and as you might expect in other country posters, you have Flash himself, the hero, taking up the majority of the screen. So it's interesting how, depending on what you think would sell the film, what would be best to place it in the most prominent position on your theatrical poster. Let's break down what you need to do then when creating your theatrical release poster as described by the brief. Start with the title of the film, its size, font, colour and position on the poster. What is your main image going to be? How will it promote engagement in the genre? What source material will you replicate to ensure that it's successful? Now by that I mean choose a poster that was successful in the genre that you are recreating and try to replicate the effects or the layout that it uses to gain the same kind of response. It makes it a lot easier to plan it that way as well if you have a source material to draw upon. Think about your tagline. How important is it for your film? Where should it be? And how large a font do you want to place it in? Would you put it right next to the title of the film? Or would you let the image do the talking between the title and the tagline, as indeed some of the examples I just showed you did? Where are you going to place the release date, production logos, the website link, and the social media links? If it's a theatrical poster for teenagers, would that mean the social media links should be a lot more prevalent, and then perhaps one for an older audience or a more established genre? And remember to leave space for the billing block, which, as you can see from all the examples, is normally at the bottom of the page in a very small font. And lastly, think where you're going to place your quotes from viewers, at the top or under the title, and who are you going to use as your reviewers? Should these be famous people that people have heard of? Should these be famous publications? Or are you going to go for something a bit more specific to your genre? So something like a quote from Fangoria, let's say, if you were doing a horror film. This is really easy to research online, who might review the kind of film that you are creating, and just look for some famous names that have commented on films that are similar to your own. And where would you place those reviews? Would you put them at the top of the page, at the bottom, down the side? Certainly though, I wouldn't suggest you put them in the centre, because they're likely to be less important than the title, the tagline and your main image. Thank you very much for listening then to this guide then for how to create a theatrical poster for the Media A-Level coursework component. Thank you very much for listening and good luck with your theatrical poster design.